Vraiment une évolution positive du contexte de souveraineté et donc de prise en main de nos ressources. Et c'est inviter donc nos pays voisins d'Afrique de l'Ouest et d'Afrique centrale à maintenant migrer vers le Burkina Faso avec les résidus miniers parce que nous avons la technologie sur place pour le faire.
Burkina Faso is making headlines once again. The West African nation has reportedly produced more than 55 tons of gold in the first 6 months of 2026, with an estimated market value of over $6 billion. Thanks to strong industrial mining production, expanded artisanal gold procurement, and recorded high global gold prices. For many across Africa, this is more than an economic milestone. It is another sign that African nations are working to ensure that their natural resources contribute more directly to the nation's development. Here is why this story matters. Gold remains Burkina Faso's most valuable export and one of the country's biggest source of sovereign foreign exchange. Despite facing ongoing security challenges, the country's mining sector has continued to perform strongly in 2026. According to official figures, Burkina Faso recorded more than 55 tons of gold production during the first half of the year, with the value of that output estimated at around $6 billion, supported by high international bullion prices. The growth has been driven by two major factors. First, industrial mining companies have maintained strong production levels across several large-scale mines. Secondly, the government has expanded its procurement of gold from artisanal miners, allowing more locally produced gold to enter the formal economy. Officials say this approach helps improve transparency, increase government revenue, and reduce illegal smuggling of gold across borders. From a Pan-African perspective, Burkina Faso's largest achievement reflects a broader transformation taking place across the continent. For decades, Africa has been one of the world's richest regions in natural resources, yet much of the wealth generated from those resources has historically left the continent with limited local value creation. Today, many African governments are pursuing a different path. Instead of simply exporting raw materials, they are introducing reforms aimed at increasing national participation, improving transparency, encouraging local processing, and ensuring that mining revenues contribute to economic development. Burkina Faso has become one of the countries pushing this agenda. In recent years, authorities have strengthened oversight of the mining sector, expanded the formal purchase of artisanal gold, and promoted policies designed to maximize the country's benefit from its mineral wealth. Supporters believe these measures can increase public revenue, financial infrastructures, improve education and healthcare, and create more opportunities for local communities. The country's performance also comes at a time when global gold prices remain historically strong, allowing gold producing nations to earn significantly higher export revenue than in previous years. For resource-rich African countries, this presents an opportunity to invest today's mining income into tomorrow's economic diversification. Gold has long been one of Africans' greatest natural assets. But economists often point out that natural resources alone do not guarantee prosperity. The real challenge is how the revenue is managed. If mining income is invested wisely in roads, electricity, agriculture, manufacturing, education, and technology, it can help transform national economy for generations. If not, the benefit may remain limited despite rising production. For Burkina Faso, maintaining transparency, strengthening institutions, and encouraging responsible investment will just be as important as increasing gold output. Many observers say the country's current mining performances demonstrate the importance of combining resources development with long-term economic planning. Producing more than 55 tons of gold worth an estimated of $6 billion in just 6 months is a significant milestone for Burkina Faso. Beyond the impressive numbers, it reflects a wider conversation taking place across Africa about who benefits from the continent's extraordinary natural wealth. As more African countries seek greater control over their resources, the focus is increasingly shifting from simply extracting minerals to using those resources to build stronger economic and improve the life of their citizens. What do you think? Should African countries invest more of their mining revenue into local industries and infrastructures instead of relying mainly on raw mineral export? Share your thoughts in the comment section. And if you enjoy this report, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more in-depth coverage of African economic, natural resources and the continent's journey towards a greater economic sovereignty.
This is proof for the Chadian government that the international justice system is biased. The Central African country submitted a letter to the United Nations to begin withdrawing from the court, a process that takes at least a year.
A major geopolitical shift is unfolding in Africa. Chad has officially announced its intention to withdraw from the International Criminal Court, joining Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger in a move that could reshape the continent's relationship with international justice. Supporters say it is a bold step towards African sovereignty. Critics warn it could weaken accountability for victims of war crimes and crimes against humanity. So, why are these countries leaving the ICC, and what does this mean for the future of Africa? Let's take a closer look. The government of Chad says it has formally notify the United Nations of its decision to begin withdrawing from the Rome Statute and treaty that established the International Criminal Court. Officials argue that the ICC has become ineffective and disproportionately focused on African countries while failing to apply the same level of scrutiny to powerful nations elsewhere in the world. The withdrawal process will take 1 year to become effective in accordance with Rome Statute. Chad's announcement follows similar decisions by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which formally began their own withdrawal process earlier this month. Together, these 4 countries are signaling that they want a different approach to justice, one they believe is more relative of African priorities and institutions. From a Pan-African perspective, this development is about much more than one court. For decades, many African leaders, scholars, and civil society groups have debated whether the international justice system treats all nations equally. Some argue that while African leaders have frequently faced persecutions before the ICC, alleged crimes involve powerful global actors have often moved much more slower or remain outside the court's jurisdiction. That perception has fueled long-standing calls for stronger African legal institutions capable of handling major international crimes on the continent. Supporters of the withdrawals argue that Africa should build and strengthen its own judicial mechanism instead of relying primarily on institutions based outside the continent. In fact, the Alliance of Sahel states, made up of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, has already announced plans to develop regional judicial mechanisms to address terrorism, organized crime, serious human rights violations within Africa. For many Pan-African thinkers, the broader vision is not to reject justice, but to ensure that the justice is administered in a way that Africans themselves help shape. At the same time, many legal experts and human rights organizations caution that leaving the ICC does not automatically create effective alternatives. They argue that strong independent courts are essential to ensure accountability for genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, regardless of where they occur. The timing of Chad's decisions also comes as the ICC faces wider challenges. The court is dealing with leadership changes, international political pressure, and renewed debate over its role in global justice. For Africa, however, the conversation extends beyond the ICC itself. It touches on a broader question that has become increasingly common across the continent. Should Africa continue relying on external institutions to manage its political, economic, security, and judicial affairs? Or is it time to strengthen African-led solutions capable of saving African interests while meeting international standards? This debate mirrors similar decisions taking place in areas such as finance, trade, natural resource management, and regional security. Many African governments are increasingly calling for greater self-reliance and stronger continental institutions. Whether one agrees with the decision or not, Chad's move marks another significant moment in African evolving relationship with global institutions. For some, it represents a powerful assertion of sovereignty and the belief that Africans should lead Africa's justice systems. For others, it raises important questions about how victims of the world's greatest crimes will continue to access justice. What is clear is that the debate is no longer just about the International Crime Court. It is about Africa's place in shaping its own future. What do you think? Should African nations build stronger continental courts to replace the ICC? Or should they remain within the international system while pushing for reforms? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoy this report, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification for more in-depth analysis of African politics, sovereignty, and Pan-African affairs.